it is important that we do an acknowledgement of traditional lands. Royal Roads University acknowledges that the campus is located on the traditional lands of the Chaseten, Esquimalt, and Lekwungen Songhees ancestors and families. It is with gratitude that we now learn and work here for the past, present, and future of Indigenous and non-Indigenous students, faculty, and staff come together. Welcome. And to make sure everybody's in the right room, today's session is on the MA in Professional Communication, as well as the GC, so the Grad Cert in Professional Communication Management. And with me today, I have Dr. Chaseten Remillard, who is an associate professor and program head of the MAPC program. I also have Neha Sharma, who is a MAPC program associate. And when I say MAPC, I mean Masters of Professional Communication, or Masters of Arts in Professional Communication. And my name is Emara Angus, and I'm an education specialist. We also have our knowledgeable enrollment team here. So Deanna is monitoring the chat. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel welcome to pop them in the chat and she'll be able to help you. Okay, so today's agenda, we've already started it, getting to know one another. So I'm just going to check the chat and see if anybody's introduced themselves. Yep, a few people have said hello. Thank you. That's wonderful. So we're getting to know each other. A brief overview of the Royal Roads University experience. We're going to dive into program information, go over the application process, and questions are welcome throughout. So don't hesitate to pop them in the chat whenever they come up, and we'll do our best to answer them. So Victoria, British Columbia, that is where we're located. We're on Vancouver Island, which is a really large island off the coast of British Columbia. The nearest big cities outside of Victoria are Vancouver, and you can get to Vancouver by ferry, or Seattle, which is in the United States. You can also travel there by ferry. So we are on an island, and the top 3 industries in Victoria are advanced technology, tourism and hospitality, and education. And we are one of the mildest climates in Canada. So in the winter, you get around 6 degrees Celsius on average. Summer, it's sitting around 25 degrees Celsius. We've been having a beautiful summer here so far. So really, really mild. If we get snow here, we're all surprised and don't really know what to do with it here. Awesome. So here's a few images to show you our space. So the top left there is Hatley Castle. You might actually recognize it from movies such as X-Men or Deadpool. You can actually give me a thumbs up using the reaction feature if you've seen either of those movies. And on the top right is an image of our Japanese gardens. We have a beautiful garden on campus here. And that bridge is a beautiful place to go on a lunch break while you're here on your residency, or just go for a beautiful walk. I go for walks all the time in the garden on my lunch break. And the bottom left there, you can see is a beautiful lagoon. That is a Esquimalt lagoon, and we overlook the lagoon here on campus. And the bottom right is just an image to depict that we have been teaching and learning online for over 25 years. So here at Royal Roads University, the blended programs are very familiar to us. And by blended, I mean a combination of online and on-campus learning. So why explore Royal Roads? Well, first of all, thank you all for being here today. But here at Royal Roads University, we see life as a qualification. So what we mean by that is we understand that every single person in the room today or watching the recording later comes to us with a different background, different experience, different career goals. And that is what makes everyone so unique and so special. So we understand that. So we apply that when it comes to our flexible admission. So what that means is that you can apply to our program using your life experience, using your work experience. We don't just look at just your post-secondary experience. We'll talk more about what flexible admission is. And here at Royal Roads, profs who know your name. So we get to know everyone very quickly. That's important to us here. You're way more than just a student number. We see you from the beginning of your journey. We take you right through to the end. And learning based on life. So there's not that division between theory and practice. It's integrated together. And here at Royal Roads, in your cohort, so that's the group of people that you'll be going through the program with, you will make friendships and connections for life. We hear all the time from alumni that they continue to connect and stay in touch with the people that they went to school with. And so we were built differently really from day one. And we're going to talk more about that as we continue through this webinar. And here at Royal Roads University, we're also a change maker campus. So the Ashoka U Changemaker Campus designation recognizes colleges and universities that embed social innovation as one of their core values. So here at Royal Roads University, we believe in leading and empowering others to lead change. And now I'm so pleased to welcome Chase, or Dr. Chaseten Remillard. Come on up, and I'll hand it over to you from here.
Thanks, Emara. So yeah, welcome to the, as we call it, MAPC, which is the, as Emara said, the Master's of Arts in Professional Communication, or the MAPC. And I'm just gonna take you through the program structure. I'm the program head for the MAPC, and Neha is the program coordinator. And so together we represent 2 of 3 in the program office. The third is Glendora, but Neha's role is to help you kind of navigate the university and to be there for you, to help you connect to all of the different programs. And my role is really to ensure that your education is what it should be in a master's program. I have my PhD in communication studies from the University of Calgary. I've been at Royal Roads now for about 7 years. And so my job is to make sure that you understand, maybe, should I do a thesis? Should I do research paper? I talk to the faculty, kind of keep abreast of what's new developments, maybe change courses, those kinds of things, and just sort of day-to-day administrative responsibilities. So the course is a 2-year course, the 2-year program. And it's part of it is on campus. And when you're on campus, we call those intensives, or we sometimes call them residencies. And part of it is at a distance or is online, when we call those as distance and hence why we call this a blended program, because part of the program is delivered to you face-to-face, and part of the program is delivered to you wherever you may live via the internet and technology. So the first year is pretty much standard for everyone who comes into the program, and there's a few different completion pathways that we have. But for the first year, everyone is basically in the same classes with their cohort, and that starts with intensive 1, and you take 3 courses. And the way that the program is set up in terms of its course content is that there's sort of three types of course. There's what I like to call an academic course or a theoretical course. There's practical courses or professional courses, and then there's sort of courses that bridge those 2 realms. So I call them maybe pracademic courses. And so in that first intensive, you're taking 3 classes. Part of it is delivered online, and then you come to campus for 2 weeks, and then you go back and finish the courses. So in those 3 courses are a course called Theory in Communication Studies. There's a course called Organizational Communications, and there's a course called Communication Methods. And so theory is obviously the theory type of course. The OrgComm course is the practical type of course, and the research methods is really a bridge course, because it teaches you how to do effective research for professional settings. How do you measure whether or not your campaign is successful or not, that kind of stuff. But it also teaches you how to be an academic researcher at a graduate level. So those courses are kind of like indicative of the way that the whole program is set up, is that we're looking for opportunities to connect, connect theory to practice, and to really allow you to understand communication practice in professional settings much more strategically and purposefully. And the OrgComm challenges are really, or we have in the OrgComm course, we have organizational communications course, we have called an OrgComm challenge. And this also sort of features an ethos of the program and of Royal Roads in general, which is that we really focus on cohort learning or group learning, peer learning, and we really try to make what you're doing useful to the communities that you're part of. So here at Royal Roads, the way that we facilitate that in our program in MAPC is that we connect students with organizations that don't necessarily have the resources to be able to have a professional outside audit of their organizational communications, and that they need some help. So we've worked with like the BC Corners, we've worked with Rugby Canada, we've worked with a local restaurant, we've worked with local businesses. So it's a wide range. It can be from small to big organizations, but the teams in those courses come together and they talk to the client or they talk to the organization. They find out what that organization thinks the problem is, and they use the theory and they use the method courses to propose to them a solution. And it's recommendations. And the organization goes off and does with it what they will. But what it does is it allows the students to really understand each other as a cohort, because they work together on that as a team. And it also like brings together that professional practice, the theoretical understanding, and the community engagement that we really are trying to manifest in the program. So once you're done the intensive, once you're done those 3 courses, you go into distance 1, you complete a few courses online, you can go into distance 2. In the next phase, you do a few more, and then you come back pretty much exactly a year from the time that you've been on campus to intensive 2. And in that, you have a few options, and Neha will talk about the options from the point of view of courses. But you have a few options in terms of your pathway to completion. You can choose at that point to do a thesis, a research project, or you can complete through using completing by doing a series of other courses. And so at that point of the intensive is where you start to see those paths diverge, because people who are doing the thesis will go and they won't have any more coursework. People who do research project will have a special course just for them. And people who decide to do course-based completion will go into interdisciplinary studies or other faculties within the university, and they'll choose courses from their course selections. But up until that residency in the second year, everyone is basically doing the same courses, and you'll have a couple of overlapped courses as one final touch point when you're in that intensive 2 to see all your cohort again. So as I mentioned, there's sort of 3 different ways that you can complete the program. So all 3 give you exactly the same degree, and all 3 allow you to go on to further graduate studies if you wish. The thesis option, like I mentioned, is 12 program course-based credits. And then at that point, when you're in residency 2 and that finishes, or intensive 2 and that finishes, then you go off and do your thesis, and that counts as 12 credits. The research paper option or the research project option is, again, 30 program-based credits. So you pick up a couple more course-based credits, and you do 6 credits for a research paper. And the final option is the course-based option, where you do 30 course-based credits, and then you also do some non-program electives. So you'll see that in the research paper option and the course-based option, you have a few more course-based credits, and those come from what we would call like program-based electives. So we have program-based electives, which are courses that you can choose to fill out those 2 other course credits that you need for the 30. And then you can also choose, if you're in the course-based option courses that are outside of our program. And those are the, coming from general studies typically. So here are the core courses. These are the courses that everyone is going to take. These are the courses that you're going to take with all of your classmates. And you'll see that they sort of, they start with those 3 courses that I talked about, and then they go through communication, tech, culture, media and technology, communication policy, politics and law. We do another research methods course just to make sure that you understand research proposal writing. We talk about strategic communication, and then we have a course that gets developed on topical issues from one year to the next. So for example, this year, Dr. Philip Vanini, who, if you're interested in, is legitimately the closest to Indiana Jones that I've ever met in my career, because he's always getting off a float plane, as he dials in for our Zoom meetings for our faculty meetings, getting off a float plane in like some far off reach of the world doing a documentary film. He's got a great film coming out. It's going to the Banff Mountain Film Festival. It's going to go across Canada and all these different festivals. So he has a course called, he's a very creative fellow, called Movement. And basically it's all about communications in terms of migration and movement, and how does that, how is that connected? So that's a special topics course. We also have another special topics course on monuments, basically, and collective memory, and how does that function? So how does that function as a form of communication and culture building? So every year there's different ones that fit into that special topics, and it gets to showcase our professors' current research interests and current topics that people might find interesting or unique. Then we have some electives, and these courses again are the ones that if you're not in the thesis option, you're going to have a couple of these courses fill out some credits for you. So media production, strategic digital communications, communications for development, and social change, and so on. And all of these are on our webpage, and they change. We add some, we modify what's in there from time to time. But basically, these are the core program credits that you'll have to choose from. Now, if you're one of those folks who is really interested in doing the course-based option, then you will have an opportunity as a course-based completion pathway to do two courses, or to do 6 credits of what we call like non-program based electives, which means that you basically get to do them from other faculties and other schools at Royal Roads, and most people do it through the general studies faculty, the interdisciplinary studies, because that's where there's all kinds of really cool stuff that people can shop around. So if you want to have a little taste of those, you could be something like conflict and analysis, strategic human resources, leadership, and so on. And know that Neha wanted to speak a little bit about those choices, because she's the one who helps you facilitate that process. So I'll just turn it over to her here before I come back and talk a little bit about where people go and come from in the program.
Thank you, Chase. Well, hello, everyone. So this is what we're talking about. This website is called General Studies website. I will very quickly will also, once I'm done, I will also share the link for this. This is where the students who opt for course-based completion pathway go to. As you can see, this website offers plethora of options that we will see very soon. Emara, if you could just scroll down a bit. And so this is where, and perfect. So we can, as you can see, the list that starts from group and team coaching, it's an exhaustive list. We have plethora of options for you. What you can either find, you can scroll down and see what all options we have, or if you have something very specific in mind, you can actually go and refine your results. So say leadership is what you're interested in. So just type in leadership and enter apply. and it will give you all the options that we have, all the courses that would talk about leadership. All you need to do is you need to find, once you've decided what is it that you want to do, and you put in your keyword, click on the course that you find the best, and you need to find 2 graduate level courses. So because it's a graduate level program, these courses need to be a graduate level course too. Once you do that, once you see that the course start date suits you, all you need to do is, it's a very simple process. You just need to get in touch with me. I'll be your program associate, and I will take you through getting enrolled internally. So it's very easy peasy. It gives you a way of specializing in different courses that are not a part of our core communication program. So it really will help you broaden your horizon academically as well as professionally, if that is what you're looking at. That is it. Thank you, Emara.
Thanks, Neha.
Well,
so one of the questions that I get oftentimes with folks thinking about coming into the program is, what do people do when they're done with their MA? And I mean, that's what I think what makes this program so interesting and unique is that we have people who come into the program from all kinds of different places. We have people who come from creative industries. They might be graphic designers, they might be photographers, they might be filmmakers. We have people who come from the private sector who have been working at, in maybe a PR firm or and doing public relations for a while. We have people who come from government and who have been doing communications at a high level or at an entry, at a reasonable entry level. We have people who come directly from an MA, from an undergrad in communications and have a couple of years maybe of technical experience somewhere. And we have people who have really just maybe been in journalism or in the print industry or in some way kind of looking to move from one industry to another, look for a new change, and higher education. And really, from wherever people come, they also can go back out. And so, we've had grad student or students who graduated from our program go be part of the PMO team for Trudeau. We've had people who have gone and worked at like health authorities, and we've had people who've gone to start their own consultancy. We've had people who've just continued in their own career path and continued making the films or continued to be whatever it was that they were before. But what they've now gained is a sort of understanding of what they've had done in the past from a gut reaction or from a gut feeling. They now know the reason why it works. They're purposeful, or they understand how to measure it better, or they understand how to communicate what they do better. So a lot of people I've found when I teach have said when they arrive at this program, they have this sort of aha moment of, that's what I've been doing. I've been doing communications for the last 5 years. And it is actually something that you can study, and it is something that has a history and a discipline to it. And for a lot of people, they don't necessarily start off their undergrads or their careers thinking about being communicators, but they end up in those roles by sort of highways and byways. And a good example of that is a former grad of ours who he started his career as a paramedic, and he was always very vocal in meetings and so on. And somebody suggested to him that he become their local spokesperson for larger meetings and so on. And he ended up kind of doing this and being in that role and moving up in that role until at some point he became basically the official communications officer for for the Alberta Paramedics Association. And at that point, he started to realize that he actually was much more of a professional communicator than he was a paramedic. And that was where he wanted his career to go. And so he started to apply for communications positions. And he would inevitably get shortlisted, and they would bring him into the room, and he would be one of 3 other candidates. And in one of these interviews, because he had a series of them where he was shortlisted and wasn't successful, one of the interviewers asked him, well, why would we hire somebody who's the spokesperson, or have no training for this position that's like a VP of communications? Why would we hire you? And he had this thought in his head where he said, yeah, why would you hire me? And so when he left that meeting, so the story goes, he went to start to look for graduate for programs to credential what he had been knowing in his heart and in his work that he was an expert in. And he found our program. He came, he did our program, he graduated. He did his thesis or his research project. Can't remember if it was a thesis or a research project, but he did it on social media and crisis communications. He graduated and immediately was hired as the chief communications officer for the city of Calgary. About a month, and the first task that he was given was to rehaul their crisis communications plan, given his expertise and his studies. And as he was working on that, the flood hit, and he was literally plunged and figuratively plunged into a crisis scenario where he had to put all of his learning and everything that he had done over the last couple of years and past that and experience to the test. He worked for the city for a while. Now he runs his own crisis communication consultancy. He's partnered with one of the biggest risk communicators in the world. And I mean, he's a perfect example of sort of a lot of our graduates, right? They find their way to a point where the knowledge that they have and the experience that they have needs a credential. And that's what this program is also. It's about getting that credential so that you can sit across the table with other people who have letters behind their names, and you can have the authority to say, I know what I'm talking about. I know that it'll work, and I'm an expert in this field. And that's what we give you. And we give you that, and it's an empowerment, and it's an opportunity to change focus and to move in different directions, but it's also an opportunity to really have a solid understanding of what you may do already in your job, and to have it premised on all of the research and all of the stuff that's out there in the discipline of communications. So it's super exciting. I love it, as obviously you would have to do a PhD in it, but it's a really great pleasure of mine to be part of this program and to see the students go through it and see where they end up. And I'll just speak really quickly about the graduate certificate in communication management, because the grad cert is sort of also a unique opportunity. The grad cert is not a watered down version of our program. It is our program, but it's just a sample of it. And I think that's what really makes it unique, is that you're not put into a class with people who are just doing their grad cert. You're put into the class with the students who are there doing their MA. And so you really get a sense of what it is to be in our program, and you get the rigor of doing a graduate course that counts as credit towards a degree if you wish at Royal Roads, but it's on your transcript. Nobody can take it away from you, and you can do with it what you want, but you actually have those credits, right? So the grad cert is 3 courses. It's it's strategic communication, it's conflict analysis and management, and it's strategic digital communication. So those are the courses that we feel are probably the most industry important right now for people to have. And those are the courses that you would take for your grad cert. Now, if down the road you decided, Emara, to come into the MA program, Emara just finished her grad cert with us, so I'm trying to encourage her to do her MA. But you know, if you decided to do that, those credits just go straight over. There's no cutting them, halving them, none of that. It's like you have 9 credits towards your degree, and then Neha and you will figure out where you get your other credits to fill it out and how that works. And you know, every year we have people come in from the grad cert into the MA program, so it's not an atypical thing to do. It's not a difficult thing to do. It's set up specifically for that. And it's a great opportunity if you don't know if you're really ready to commit. It's sort of like a gateway to higher education, and it allows you to sort of try it on at a little bit lower risk for you in terms of time commitment, and go for it. And I don't know, do you want to say anything about it, Emara?
Yeah, thanks, Chase, and thank you for encouraging me. I do want to keep going with it. I did do the grad cert in professional communication management last fall, and it was an awesome experience. And what was really neat about it was I was in the cohort with people who were doing their full masters, and unless I kind of told them, they didn't know that I was only doing the grad cert because we were doing the exact same courses. So what you said about it not being watered down is 100% true. You're just thrown in there, and it's really, I learned a lot. And as everybody here knows, I work at Royal Roads University, and I was working at Royal Roads beforehand, but I've already been able to take so much of what I learned in the course and apply it to what I'm doing right now in my current role. And that was really exciting. So yeah, if anybody ever wants to chat more about what the grad cert is like from kind of that firsthand perspective, you're always welcome to reach out to me. I know everybody here has my email at this point, but yeah, thank you for offering the opportunity to share some words about that, Chase.
Yeah, no problem. And I think that's pretty much everything I had to say. So I'll turn it back over to you, and thank you all for your time. I might have to jump off a little bit early here, but I'll stick around for as long as I can.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chase. And thank you, Neha, both of you, for just going through all the details. I'm also taking notes, as everybody here can imagine. Like, yeah, I do want to take that course. That sounds really cool. So how to apply, for those of you who are looking to apply, I'm going to walk you through each of the steps. And I also want to make sure that you know that our website is kept up to date with information around requirements, like what you need for your application, application deadlines, tuition information. That is all up to date on our website. So I always recommend students look, or prospective students look there for information about how to apply. So as I was mentioning at the beginning, we have both standard and flexible admissions. So what that means is our standard admission is if you're just looking to enter through the regular admission pathway. So that's a completion of a 4-year or comparable undergraduate degree in a relevant field, evidence of having sufficient knowledge, skills, and abilities to complete a demanding academic course of study at a master's level. And normally we require at least 2 years of work or volunteer experience, preferably in a leadership capacity. So that is for our standard admission. We also have our flexible admission. So that means that maybe you don't have any previous post-secondary experience, but you have a lot of experience working in the industry. So with our flexible admission, actually with all of our admissions, every single individual is assessed case by case. So I want to encourage you, if you're on the fence or you're not sure if you're the right fit, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Talk to our enrollment team, and they can help you determine whether or not this is the right fit for you. So make sure you do that. It is assessed on a case-by-case basis. So for example, applicants without an undergraduate degree, but more than 3 years of relevant post-secondary education, they should have at least 3 years of relevant work experience. Applicants with 2 to 3 years of relevant post-secondary education should have at least 5 years of relevant work experience. And applicants with less than 2 years of relevant post-secondary education should have at least 10 years of high-level professional communication experience. So like I said, don't hesitate to reach out. These are our guidelines, and absolutely reach out to talk about your individual situation. And so academic writing and critical thinking is definitely required for success in this program. We do have academic writing and critical thinking courses offered through continuing studies at Royal Roads University. And what you can do, you can start it even as soon as August 22nd. We have a few offerings in September. Absolutely check out our website. We have a drop-down menu and you can see all the upcoming start dates. I have had some colleagues that have done some courses at Royal Roads, and they have said that this is a great one to get back in the mindset of what it is to think and write academically, especially if you haven't been to school for a while. Like, this is a great refresher and to get you in that mindset. We also have a language requirement. So English is the primary language of instruction and communication at Royal Roads University. So if your language is not, your primary language is not English, you must meet our language requirement through one of three ways. So either holding a recognized credential from an English-speaking country, submitting an official English language proficiency test score, or completing one of our global learning and language center programs. And we have all this information and more, and what requirement and how you can demonstrate your requirement being met, all on our website as well. And so how to apply? So if you're wanting to apply for the program, you want to go onto our website, start up an online application, and then you're going to submit some other documents as well. So as I mentioned, like, we have that flexible and staggered admission. So it's like, how do you demonstrate that you would come in through the flexible admission? Well, part of it is through your detailed resume. So that is where you would go into detail about your different past experiences, whether it's work experience, volunteer experience, membership and affiliations. And so in your detailed resume, it's going to be way beyond just like a one-page job application resume. We really ask you to go into detail so we can get to know you. My recommendation, as you know, that I just applied for a program last year, what I did is I used the online application requirements on the website. I use it as a checklist. So under detailed resume, it kind of takes you through all the different things that they want you to talk about. I just used it as a checklist, and I made sure I wrote about each of those things. You're also going to want to submit some official transcript if you have post-secondary education. Personal statement of intent. This is a really fun part, actually. This is all about your why. So why is this program the right fit for you? What are you hoping to achieve? How do you think that you can contribute to the cohort and the group of people in the program? What are your goals? The personal statement was my personal favorite part. I really enjoyed writing that as part of my application. It really solidified the why behind why I wanted to do my grad cert in professional communication management. As well, you'll be submitting 2 letters of reference, and preferably professional and academic letters of reference. And we go into detail about what that looks like as well on the how to apply section of our website. So here's some key dates. We do have an intake coming up really soon. So if you're ready to go and you want to jump into this program, you can start as soon as this fall. So that's September 26, 2022. I think we still have a few spaces left. So I would start your application now if that's what you're hoping to get in for. And the application deadline is August 26, 2022. And you don't have to wait till the deadline to submit your application. We do look at them as they come in. If you're not quite ready to join, but you're looking to in the next year or so, we do have a spring start date as well. So that's in May 15th, 2023. The application deadline for that, it gives you a bit more time, and that's February 15th, 2023. If you're looking to kind of do what I did, where you start a little bit slower and test the waters, but I know most people jump right into the master's program, and I can understand why they do that. But if you're looking to start with just the grad cert or test out the grad cert, the start date for that is October 10th, and the application deadline is September 10th. So you still have time to apply for that as well. And we all understand here that education isn't a big investment. It's a worthy investment, but it's a big investment. So we have a whole department dedicated to supporting you and with financial aid. So what they can talk about is loans, awards, or scholarships, and other funding opportunities. I highly recommend that you check out the website for that. So that's royalroads.ca financial aid and awards. You can actually set up an appointment directly with a financial aids and awards specialist and talk about your unique needs. What's really cool is they actually outline all the different scholarships and awards on the website itself, so you can kind of cruise through there on your own time. And I recommend starting this now. Have a look now. If you're looking to apply for the program, start looking at financial aid as well at the same time. And application support. I hope everybody in the room here knows that we are here to support you. So don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have questions about the program, or if this program is the right fit, or anything about the application and admission requirements. We're here to help you. I know Diana's been answering questions in the chat, and she is one of our knowledgeable enrollment advisors, so she can always, you can always reach out and connect with her if you have any questions. And then here is our information. So if you're a domestic student, you can reach out to us at learn.more@royalroads.ca. And if you're coming internationally, you can reach out to us at learn.more.international@royalroads.ca. You can also scan the QR code, and that will connect you to us on WhatsApp. Now we're coming to the end of today's session. I want to give a bit of time for questions. I know Chase mentioned he might have to pop off here, but if you're still around, Chase, we can maybe jump through a few of the questions quickly. Looking here, I see in the chat, no January intakes, and the answer to that is we have May and September intakes. And for what about international students? Yes, I see a note about it being a bit late for the September intake. We do recommend giving yourself about 6 months of time if you're an international student. Applying 6 months in advance of the deadline. And do we have any other questions? Chase, do you see any other in the chat there? No. Okay, well, everybody here has our information. So if you have any questions that come up, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And Chase, I wanted to invite you and Neha to share any final words with the people in the room today. If they just any words of advice or final words about today's session.
Yeah, I would just say, there's never a right time. I think it's always the right time to take that next step for your education. So if you're waiting for for your loan payment to come down, or your car to get fixed, or your kid to get older, I think that it's time, it's always the right time. I think it's important to start. And if you're thinking about it, then take the steps to get into it, because it'll be worth it for you.
What about you, Neha? Would you like to share anything else as well?
I completely second what Chase said. I think now is the right time. So please do take out some time, visit our website, read about it once again. We have shared a number of links. There is a link for Emara, there's a link for Diana. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. It's a great program.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody today for joining us, and for anybody watching the recording later. It was great to have you all, and thank you, Chase, Neha, and Diana for supporting and hosting today's session.